How are you feeling going into the new year?
I mean, I wish I could tell you my world is full of unicorns and rainbows. Sadly, it's not, although I am sitting in Portland, Oregon, and it is sunny skies in February, not complaining. Um, I do these calls monthly with analysts, and the analysts talk to Wall Street every month. They get sort of the feedback from the big companies, and the big companies have to walk a fine line. To their shareholders, their boards, they have to sing sort of the line, the approved line. And then those analysts say, great, we've heard the line from the corporate guys on Wall Street. Now we want to hear from Main Street. So I joined those calls from the Main Street side. And consistently, they ask us, one of the questions they ask us is they say, what's your optimism level scale of 1 to 10? And generally, everyone has been in this sort of the six. We're just like treading water. And I really feel like we thought 2025 was our year. The mantra was survive until 25 and then thrive in 25. And that was thrive in 25. And we keep kicking the can down the road. And I am not woo-woo, but like this manifesting thing is becoming a thing. Like I want to have a positive state of mind because I think it affects my behavior. So I'm walking into this year thinking the world is not ending, right? Thinking, sure, it's not going to be a banner year, but we have World Cup, we have the 250 celebration of America, we have a lot of interesting things happening. So I'm going to say I'm going in glass half full in 2026. The headline that keeps us up at night regularly really is the eroding margin. Revenues last year generally flat, and we'll just go to generally flat. There are some exceptions. New York City, obviously, is a big exception. And this year we're walking in thinking generally flat. The problem is, our costs have been increasing double digits. And sadly, a lot of our costs are labor centric, generally in the industry. Like our health insurance last year for my company went up 13.1%. We can't pass that cost on to the employees. They're barely making it, barely surviving. And we can't eat it, we'll be out of business. So then how do you navigate those really complicated issues that have impact not just on you and your shareholders or your investors, but also your teammates that are, living check to check. So generally speaking, I'm saying the first 6 months of the year, some treading water. The second half of the year, I hope and believe, and I'm manifesting blue skies. People are moving more, people are traveling more. Again, World Cup, again, 250 celebration, but generally more optimism and travel in the second half of the year.
Okay, so I want to hear what it would it take to increase your optimism levels because I think at Alice, Isaac Lazo from SCR said something on stage that I can't get out of my head, and that is, what's the growth plan, right? So you have these flat top line, costs are increasing. In his research, I think he said something like 30% of hotels are still seeing some growth. Is it just the macro picture, or are there other things that would or could happen that would increase your optimism levels?
We're not going to turn this into a political
We
conversation, but
can. This is unfiltered.
I thank you. I saw the best meme the other day, not mine, I can't claim it. And it said, the new definition of EBITDA is earnings before interest and Trump's daily actions.
Interesting.
Brilliant. Brilliant.
Interesting.
The problem is there's no playbook for what's happening that we can look back at and say, in the previous cycle, here's what's happened. It's a box of chocolates. Like everyone you bite, it's a new flavor. Like, oh, I didn't know we're gonna invade Venezuela. So I would say, in order for me to increase my optimism, DC has a lot to do with it. Obviously, policy relative to interest rates, relative to immigration. Right, we are a very heavily immigrant-dependent industry, and the hyperbole that's keeping the foreigners up away from the U.S., whether it's on principle or out of fear because they think we have military in the street, etc. I think the way I would be more optimistic is if I thought Washington D.C. the White House is going to come out and say, "Here's our plan for this year. Here's what we're going to follow." I'd then know what's coming, good or bad or indifferent, doesn't matter. It's visibility, as you know. Lack of visibility. It's like you're trying to lead a company blind, and it's very very unsettling. So I don't know that anything short of some more transparency of what the future holds from Washington D.C., which let's be real is not going to happen. I don't know that anything would increase my optimism. I mean, like the silly example is I need to order a chair. A chair gets shipped from China or from pick a country, and it's on the container. And the guy who sold me the chair calls me and he says, "Your good news is your chair's on the container. Bad news is the $100 tray is now $200." All right. Next day he calls me, it's now $300. 2 days later, it's now $50. how do you do anything? So the only thing you can do is you freeze and you become paralyzed. You say, I'm just going to wait. And waiting is bad news for everyone. Wait to renovate, wait to buy, wait to travel, wait. Terrible for our economy.
So
Uncertainty.
let me ask you this, Bashar, because you've seen a couple market cycles, and I think also I was talking with Jan Freitag a couple days ago from CoStar, and he was talking about like national forecasts. Obviously, like the big macro picture, national politics, all this stuff has material impacts on the business. At the same time, kind of as the only way forward, the only way we can kind of think about how do we succeed is think about what's the plan to beat it, right? And I'm curious in the market cycles that you've seen, has there been opportunity to create value in even with headwinds from some level, and what does that look like for you?
I mean, listen, unfortunately, in a capitalist economy, the only way to make money is in a down cycle, right? Like, think about it. I mean, I want to buy low, sell high, right? So the problem today is this kicking the can down the road, this extend and pretend syndrome is really not creating any opportunity for us to acquire because it keeps getting extended and extended. And at the end of the day, we kind of know the inevitable income, right? It's like, unfortunately, someone is on life support. They're not coming back. Like at some point, they're not coming back. It's over. Like cut your losses, cut their losses, and pull the plug. And that has caused us to not see any transaction volume move forward. But the other real problem that we keep ignoring is travel is elective. People can't pay their rent. I mean, we're in it together. Fortunately, like I'd never before paid attention to prices, but like I go into the grocery store now and I say, how can someone that works for me that makes pick a number, 20, 25, 30 bucks an hour survive? It's really, really hard. So I think the euphoric travel that we saw post the pandemic has subsided. I think the opportunity to make money now potentially is really to do what you do better, focus on keeping your employees, avoiding turnover, and really taking care of your customer. I will never publicly admire Marriott or tout them, but I tout them constantly for their original quote: take care of your people who will take care of your customers who will take care of you. Because cycles come and cycles go, and those who weather the storm are better off on the other end. But right now, I'm hard pressed to tell you how you can make money in this space. The other great quote I love is, in a low interest environment, you can do everything wrong and still make money. In a high interest environment, you could do everything right and still lose money. Interest and debt is the lifeline of our economy. And with that readily available, relatively affordable debt, nothing happens. Nothing happens. Lines of credits, mortgages, etc.
So I appreciate that reality check. I also appreciate the conversations we've had that for me, you've opened the aperture of what hospitality can be. And you look at retail, you look at these other different industries, and you get inspiration. I think even more fundamental than that, you've talked about disliking the word disruption, but I do like to think about this kind of fresh way of creating things. I think you like innovation. I think if I think about things you've shared with me and others, this focus on humans and observing humans seems really interesting because regardless of the market cycle, if I think about a way forward, if there is one, it feels like in an environment that is always changing, looking at what humans are doing now is a way forward. It's a way to create and innovate.
100%.
What are you observing now of humans, of traveling
Really,
humans?
really,
Yeah.
really interesting how you phrase it also. Look, the way I normally say is I say I don't pay attention to trends. Trends by definition have a shelf life. Human behavior takes years, decades, millennia to change, right? And the rate of change has become so exponentially faster than we've ever seen in human existence. So when you watch human behavior, like I'm starting to see legitimately now, it happens inevitably in anytime we do anything. The pendulum swings so far that the inevitable thing for it to do is to swing back. Me watching a backgammon cafe opening in New York City, I'm paying attention. Me watching Gen Zers doing knitting, doing mahjong. So I'm paying attention, and I think we are somewhat rebelling against hiding behind a screen, but we are definitely using technology, wanting technology to remove the friction in our lives. But we're finally saying, you know what? Let's go hang out and play a game of chess or a game of cards or whatever. I was talking to someone earlier today about, remember the ceremonial thing families did at 9 p.m. on a Sunday when The Simpsons came on, where they all gathered in front of the TV because they had to watch The Simpsons together? We don't do that anymore. So we're losing a lot of the things that brought us together. And I think we're rebelling against it to some extent. And I think even generationally, you're watching it. The By the way, like corded phones are the hottest, sexiest thing now. People are making a killing selling corded phones. It's amazing that are connected to your cell phone, by the way, just so you're able to actually. I've always said, by the way, there's nothing better that when you're so pissed off at someone, you're done with a call and you slam that phone down.
It's gratifying.
I mean, listen, I've thrown this thing across the room multiple times. It just doesn't feel the same way. Anyway, so I think I'm observing this notion of yes, I'm an early adopter in a lot of ways to technology. I want it. I'm all about it, but I want it to not take over my life. I want it to make my life better. And the way it makes my life better is sure, I'll tell Google Gemini while I'm on Chrome to go look for the thing for me. So then I can actually pick up the phone and call my friend Josiah and say, hey, buddy, how's it going? What's happening? Right? What's up? What's new with you? So I feel like if we start thinking that way, how does that influence how we travel? How does that influence how we move as travelers? One of the pieces I recently wrote, crying out, I'm always calling bullshit on all these empty terms that we use. Experiential hospitality. What in the name of God is experiential hospitality anymore? So the piece I wrote is I said, the hell with me going to an experiential hospitality that you wanted to give me because you saw it somewhere else and you copy pasted. I want to be part of creating my own experience when I go with you. So like we're watching the proliferation of farm hotels, like who would have thought? But someone who wants to go yank the carrot out of the ground themselves, that's going to go in their salad or milk the cow or do whatever it is that they need to do. But I think this idea of us being a part of the experience, creating our own experience is what we're after at the end of the day. But it all ends with the idea that I can go to French Laundry and buy the whole place out just for me alone, and my experience will be miserable. I don't go to the French Laundry for the food. I go for the experience I have with the food, with someone I love, a friend, a loved one, whatever. So I think we're starting to, again, triangulate this idea of let's let technology do the things we don't want to do that we hated doing, but let's actually use the extra time that we have to spend more time together and enjoy the benefit of technology freeing us up.
Interesting. I it does feel experience is overused in hospitality. I think one of the voices of that was Joseph Pine, who wrote The Experience Economy, and then just recently had a book come out called The Transformation Economy. And I feel like these two concepts are adjacent. I feel like even within transformation, it feels like in hospitality, we've been talking about it. Is that, I know you hate buzzwords, but that notion of, I guess, like becoming something,
Essentially,
is there something there?
essentially,
Yeah.
essentially, I think so. I think, as you know, Chip Conley's done a fantastic job with the Modern Elder Academy, where it's a hospitality offering, but you're actually going to learn something about yourself. I've always touted Bourdain, even on your show, that I loved how he saw the world. I mean, again, obviously, sad ending and had his own demons. We all have our own demons, but the way he experienced the world was how I think I want to experience the world. And this idea of be brave, explore, eat the thing you would never think you would eat in your life. Try it. Like you're only going to live once. Try it. So I think we're all being braver when it comes to that and wanting to experience more and learn more. And historically, we've been sort of in a bubble, right? Like we lived in a bubble. By the way, you look up the stats on how many people actually had a passport before Mexico and Canada required a passport. It was very, very, very tiny. And now you look at it. By the way, proud of my 20-year-old daughter, turned 20. She's been to 43 countries.
Wow. Race your right.
I went to 18 countries last year. It's a big world out there. So we're all open-minded. We all want to go. We all want to experience. We don't want to experience what's been prescribed. We want to experience what we experience. I love this quote for travel. And if anyone takes anything out of this episode, take this. A tourist sees what he came to see. There's a lot of tourists out there. A traveler sees what he sees. Like I don't travel with an agenda. I don't say, of course, must see Eiffel Tower, check. Must see the pyramids, check. You check those big, big things. But beyond that, I went to Georgia, the country in Central Asia. I had no agenda. I didn't look at the top 10 things to do. I didn't look at anything. I just wanted to go be in Georgia, pretend that I was living in that country for a day and experience it through the lens of locals. And I think that's the beauty of travel. And that's where hospitality sits at the epicenter of that. How can we be accretive to that experience? How can we help you instead of, again, sending you to the guy who does the zip line because he gives me a kickback of $20? I want to send you to the really poor neighborhood that I grew up in and have you go explore and see the world through my eyes where I grew up and what I saw. And I think we're becoming more, I don't know, philosophical and prolific. Most of us are. I hope that we're past the Instagram moment era. In fact, I say now I want more people Shazamming in my hotel than Instagramming because at least you're learning something new. You're learning a new song you haven't learned. But yeah, I really think travel is definitely changing. The good news though is regardless of how much technology evolves, and again, I am an early adopter, and I'm not saying never. Someday we will put a VR set on and we will feel the sand between our toes. But for the time being, until that happens, we've got to go there. We've got to stick our foot in the sand and feel the sand between our toes.
I like the idea of most technology advancing. That's one that I don't get super excited about because the world is so beautiful. But I think getting to know you a little bit, Bashar, over the years, I think curiosity is a mindset
A
you have raised
hundred
and
percent.
a sense of place. And so I remember it was at a indie lodging congress here in the Bay Area, and we had a good little chat there. And you said something like a question that you love asking people is, "Where are you from?" And it sounds like such a simple question, but I think that simplicity has stuck with me since, and it's been bouncing around my head because I think it combines those two things, that curiosity and the sense of place. And I feel for all of our listeners, obviously that can be a driver to get you out there exploring. But even at home, like in your day-to-day work, as you just navigate your life at home, it feels like you can kind of embody this wherever you are, wherever you go,
A
right?
100%. And you have to be curious. We are, we are no, I've traveled a lot, two life-changing trips ever. One was an African safari and one was the Galapagos. And the reason why both were life-changing is you realize we were lucky that our heads got bigger, we got a bigger brain, and we dominated. If it weren't for that, we're a bunch of monkeys. Like, who are we? We are nothing. We are literally a bunch of monkeys, right? So when you have this beautiful thing in your head that enables you to do all of that, why would you not be curious and want to learn about everything and want to learn about every religion and every culture and every like I want to absorb it all in, even if I don't retain any of it, just the beautiful experience of listening to someone's story and where they grew up and how they came around and what their background is, no matter how boring it may be, it just builds a holistic person for you. But we're trained in the US. Josiah, nice to meet you. What do you do? Fuck you, what do I do? Why does it matter? What I do pays my bills. Thankfully, and I speak for you and me, we love what we do. It's our passion, it's not our work. But a lot of people, unfortunately, don't love what they do. And I encourage those people to go find something else. Life's too short. But literally, that's what we do. Hi, Josiah, what do you do? Like, literally, I want to say, fuck you. Don't ask me what I do. What are you trying to size me up by asking me what I do? By the way, I intentionally don't give business cards anymore. Like, I don't want, and I don't want a business card to have a title on it. Like, we are trying to place people in buckets when at the end of the day, we are all exactly the same. I am no better than anybody else. I may be luckier. I know a lot of much smarter people than me, much harder working people than me that unfortunately haven't been able to make it. So it's not about smarts or hard work. Sometimes luck has a lot to do with it, and we're just so programmed to judge people. It's kind of like racism in a way, right? Oh, you're an analyst. Okay, you're not good enough for me. That guy could become your best friend for life that you just put in a bucket because of his job.
It's so interesting. I want to talk a little bit about how you travel, Bashar. We've talked on the show. You have this amazing habit of experiencing a new hotel every city. I want because you're one of the most well traveled people I know, and so when you travel, whether it is engaging people around you or kind of what you're looking for, what excites you. I'm just curious myself, and then also I think for hospitality providers, it's interesting. You have someone as well traveled as yourself. What lights you up when you're traveling? It sounds like a lot of conversations. Take us kind of behind the scenes of Bashar on the road. What do
I
you
mean,
enjoy doing?
I'll give you an actual kind of neurotic story. So I'm in Amsterdam. I arrive at night. I'm spending the night there, and then I leave Amsterdam the following night. So I'm essentially 24 hours. Love Amsterdam, been there plenty of times. So I wake up at 6 a.m. I say, I don't want to spend another day in Amsterdam. It seems like such a waste. I go to the airport literally with my phone in my hand, nothing else. Uber guy's like, you travel light. I walk into the airport. I look on the screen. Been there, been there. My wife would kill me if I go there without her. Warsaw, Poland. I have not been to Warsaw, Poland. I'm going to Warsaw, Poland. Walk up to the counter, buy a ticket one way, fly to Warsaw, Uber into town, get on the 90-minute bus thing. Boring, boring. Interesting, interesting. So the couple interesting places I come back to, I walk around, I observe. I love the term flâneur in French, which means he who wanders the city aimlessly. So I kind of wander aimlessly. I sit at a coffee shop next to a guy. Inevitably, we start talking. 3 hours later, I'm still talking to this guy, literally about his life, about his family, about his work, about his dreams, hopes, and aspirations. And that to me is what lights me up. Not seeing the castle, not taking a picture in front of the thing, not doing the Instagrammable thing. Inevitably, I finish my day. I still go to dinner, same idea, sit at a bar next to someone, have a conversation with them. 3 hours later, I now have a new friend in Poland. Get back to the airport, fly to Amsterdam, and fly home. That's how I travel. And people are like, but you didn't see Poland. I said, I saw more Poland than you'll ever see. I dug deep into two humans' lives. I know more about them than any person you'll meet having spent a week in Poland, because you're not going to do that. What you're going to do is run around, check all the boxes, all the sites, all the must-sees. So if you manage to do that, your perspective on travel changes completely. And travel is not about discovering the world. Travel is about discovering yourself. And the more people you talk to and the more people you meet, really at the end of the day, am I ever going to talk to those two people again? Probably not. But I learned more things about myself having talked to them than I do about them. It's less about them and really more about me. But in the moment, it feels like it's about them.
It's so interesting, and I feel like so much of your writing, so much of your speaking, your perspectives are shaped by these very human observations, and it feels refreshing in a world that's so algorithm driven. I think just getting out there, maybe not with regards to technology, but I just want to kind of ask kind of one more question on this kind of human observation. Is there any other sources that you go to? I think a lot of these are firsthand experiences. Is there any other ways you get at observing what's going on in the culture with humans right now?
I've written another piece also about hoteliers being the merchants of cool, I called it. It is our job to be the merchants of cool. It is upon me, it is incumbent upon me to keep my finger on the pulse of what's happening in popular culture and trends, the good, the bad, and the ugly, right? I know about the Beckham's feud. Does it really matter to me? Should I know about it? But no, I want to know about it. My teen kids at the time would get on an app, House Party, and my daughter would come home and be like, Dad, why are you on House Party? I'm like, Hannah, why are you on House Party? You being relevant, my biggest fear is becoming irrelevant. Not important, not VIB, not VIP, not celebrity, but relevant. And relevancy mean you really need to know what's happening with culture if that is important to you as an interest, which it is very much to me, and if it's important for the job that you do. And I actually was in Bethesda Marriott at HU at Bethesda, Maryland, at Marriott's headquarters, sitting on stage saying the following. The problem with our industry is that it's controlled by middle-aged white men who think they have good taste, and sadly they don't. But those are the people making the decisions about the art and the music and the brand and all of that. And if it's not your thing, you don't enjoy it, fine, you don't have to, but make sure you're surrounded by people who do and listen to them, because your clients, your customers, your guests are relying on it. So I'm an avid reader, albeit ADD. And reading, by the way, isn't reading books. I'm on TikTok, I'm on Snapchat, I'm on Instagram, I'm on Threads, I'm on X, I'm on Tumblr, and I'm constantly watching what's happening. And sure, I speak some Gen Z, right, language. I've got to be in the know. I've got some Gen Z language in me, no cap. So you've got to stay current for your own sake, but also for the sake of your profession that you love. You can't just keep doing what you've always done and expect to deliver the same results, because your customer is changing. And if you don't change with them and adapt to them, what's the quote? Adapt or die. You have to adapt now, not adapt like Las Vegas nightclub for 6 months. It's 5 minutes ago. You build a new one. No, you gotta keep moving with what matters to people. And when I'm talking about like the analog movement now, like your hotel should be thinking about it. Should we have a backgammon night? Should we have a mahjong night? Should we have a game night? So there's a lot of those things that you can contribute to. People talk about activations, 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 and all they think about is Instagrammable, Instagrammable, Instagrammable. That's not what it's about. And I've accomplished this twice now, one in Bentonville, Arkansas, where I just opened a hotel, and one in Colorado Springs, Colorado, where I've had opened a hotel. Everyone talks about the lobby being the living room, and anyone who wants to challenge me, walk into those lobbies anytime you want. They are packed with locals, packed. I give them the Wi-Fi for free, happily, fast Wi-Fi. I don't ask them to fill out a form and give me their, mother's maiden name and social security number. Literally, there are kids lying on the floor doing homework. Because when a guest comes, guess what that feels like to them? It feels like home. It feels like they've walked into their family room. And it's such an amazing thing. Yet we hotels brag about it, talk about it, but then we have stanchions and bouncers. Try. I'm gonna call out a hotel here. I don't do that often. Dear Beekman Hotel, New York, for the love of God, make the Wi-Fi in your lobby accessible. Don't make me wait in line and ask you for it. Come on, we're past that. We're past that era. Let's move on. It's time for you to catch up and move on. I'm calling Hyatt out on it. Like all these things that we've done, we say we welcome everyone, but we don't, and the guests appreciate it. Again, imagine walking into this brand new luxury hotel and literally kids, young kids doing their homework on the floor. It's so heartwarming. It is. They're not loud, they're not ringing around jumping on the couches, they're not doing any of that. People by and large are nice people, And if your hotel becomes their living room, that translates well to the guest, and that does what we preach: authenticity, authentic, local, curated, handcrafted. You don't need to do any of it. They'll do it for you because their very existence demonstrate that concept.
Bashar, I want to talk a little bit about a post you just made recently. I'll link to in the show notes. But I mean, it feels like it connects all these threads, right? You talk about some. It feels like they're designing for Instagram, and we've talked about this real opportunity to focus on the human experience and what do humans want. What have you observed? And we'll link to this and encourage people to read the whole thing. But what do you see happening that just is kind of bugging you here with regards to design and development?
There are so many incredibly amazing, talented designers I know, dear friends, incredibly talented. Yet they face this dilemma of working for middle-aged white dudes with blue suits who say, I stayed at the Thompson the other day. I really love Thompsons. I want you to create me a Thompson. That's not a Thompson. So all of a sudden, and you and I touched on this a little before we started, I generally play in the four-star space, lifestyle. And the four-star lifestyle space, because of the copy paste, copy paste, copy paste, has become what I call the muddy middle. Everything looks the same, everything feels the same, everything reads the same. In fact, the more important article I want you to highlight is the article I just wrote about LinkedIn. I'm an avid LinkedIn user, poster also, to a fault perhaps. Back in the day, LinkedIn was actually exciting. I would come on it and Josiah would have written something with typos. And I would say, like, Josiah, you bled on that page. It was beautiful. It was perfectly imperfect. Now I go, Josiah, who I know is smart, I know is experienced, I know has a point of view, his post looks exactly like everyone else's post. So you know what I do? I ignore it, even though to my detriment, because perhaps he has something interesting to say. So we've all fallen victim to this copy paste because we think that's what all should be. It should be perfect grammar, AI generated, etc. There are truly some amazing people that I wish I could, and I don't want to offend them, call them and say, you are brilliant. You don't need it. You know when someone is so beautiful and they overdo their makeup and you're like, oh my God, I promise you, take it all off. You are gorgeous. You do not need any of it, but because society tells them they need it, they wear it to their own detriment. Like I feel that's what's happened with design, especially in that space. So it's become all muddied. Nothing is cool anymore. Cool is ubiquitous. Hyatt caption has a tattoo artist in the lobby. Cool is dead. I'm sorry. Like it just doesn't mean anything. So how do we course correct? The only way I know how to course correct when we overdo everything and we throw things at you is Ian Schrager, by the way, last year, was asking him about design, and he says we've overdone it. Light touch, back off a little. Like wherever you go, whatever you do is just back off a little and say, okay, it's a lot easier to remove. It's a lot easier to add than to remove. You can always add, but we've overdone everything to a fault. So now when I walk into a hotel, I am literally being attacked. My senses are being attacked. Every single one of them is being attacked. And it almost becomes overwhelming. And it's all now a blur. It's all lost. So the way to save it for now is to allow me to cut through the noise by walking up to me and giving me a hug, right? Sort of a proverbial hug. And in fact, I think, and if I've said that on your last episode I was on, it's been a minute. I apologize for repeating, but I love this. I keep saying that I'm literally talking to people in the theater because I want my frontline people to be trained to dramatically and theatrically, as you walk in, literally drop the phone out of their hand on the floor and just do this and say, welcome.
Hmm.
That's all I need. All of a sudden, the scent it fades into the background and becomes an added element, not the focal point. Like I walk into Edition Times Square and I'm literally chewing on the scent. It's so you can cut it with a knife in the air. I smell like I sprayed it on me on the way out. So if you can cut through that noise and give me that proverbial hug, everything else now becomes a compliment to that offering, not an attack on my senses. Like literally, I feel like my senses are being attacked. Enough with the music. Sure, I love Cardi B and how controversial she is, but I don't need her blaring in the lobby talking about WAP when I'm walking in with my 8-year-old daughter. Like, we've got to be more thoughtful in what we do because our job is to welcome everybody. Now, if you say I'm an adult only hotel, I'm a whatever hotel, okay. But generally speaking, when you're trying to appeal to the masses and you can't appeal to everyone, sure, you need the genre, but I feel like we've lost our sense. First of all, we've lost our minds. Let's call it what it is. We have lost our freaking minds. And we've lost our sense of our job, which is to make this trip for someone, and I'm going to quote my hotel hero, Sean McPherson in New York, a respite from their day. And he uses
Mm.
this analogy. He says to me, he says, listen, I don't go to a coffee shop and spend $15 on a latte, New York, $15, easy, because I need the drug that I'm addicted to, that is caffeine. I can press a button at home and get caffeine, no problem. I don't go to a restaurant, spend $300 on dinner because I need food to survive, I need sustenance. These places are respite in our day. Our day is so crazy. When we walk, I don't know about you, when I walk into the coffee shop, literally there could be a nuclear bomb going off out there. I am getting my coffee. I'm in the zone. I'm hearing the noises. I'm watching the people. I'm probably judging the coffee shop for having 72 people behind the counter and it's taking them half an hour to make my coffee. But I'm in the zen. I'm in the moment. And that is a respite in my day because it allows me to turn my brain off from anything else going on and just focus on that moment. And hotels, if we don't treat it that way, we're dead. We're a commodity. We're a bed and a shower. If we don't think of it as a respite in your day, and a little self plug, I love this quote that I've trademarked for my management company that goes, anyone can take your luggage, we handle your baggage. And think about that terminology. Like you're walking in, there's so much baggage you're bringing with you from your trip, from your work, from home, from. Our job is to say, Josiah, you're here. We got you, brother. Whatever you need, done. There will not be. You want to eat a burger sitting on the couch with your shoes off? Who the fuck am I to say no? You're willing to give me money and I'm going to fight you along the way? Go do it. Go sit on the couch. We'll get you a burger. Don't worry about it. We'll figure it out. Even if I had no burger on the menu, I'll get you a burger.
I love it. Before we go, I'd love to touch on two things if we could. I think one is I want to just build on this theme we're talking about with a recent project. One of your, I feel like you've been creating so much over the last couple of years. Maybe just talk about that for a few minutes, and then maybe we close out talking about AI. You wanted to touch on that a little bit, but just like we kind of luxury, it feels like it continues to accelerate. There's this bifurcation everyone keeps talking about. The mid scale, upscale, upper upscale. Like what's going on in there? I'm curious how you think about that, maybe through the lens of a recent project, how it came to be, how you brought it to life, how you designed it. You touched on this earlier. I'd love to hear a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very, very excited and proud of a project we opened in Bentonville, Arkansas. And for those of us coastal elites, you included, who we call this flyover country. You're in San Francisco, I'm in Portland. Josiah, I assure you, Portland, Bentonville, not as easy a decision as you might think, I promise. There's some amazing country. We are snobby coastal elites. I encourage everyone to find the time and the opportunity to go to Tulsa, Oklahoma, and Kansas City, Kansas, and Bentonville, Arkansas. I mean, there's in Memphis, Tennessee. There's some amazing places in this country. So we're fortunate enough to be tapped to help create a one-of-a-kind hotel in Bentonville, Arkansas, home of Walmart, but inconsequential. And really, the challenge was we had a pretty amazing budget to work with. But the challenge was, sure, we'll give you the budget, but just because you have the budget, don't go buy Hermes leather and put it on the couch because that's stupid. But if you find an incredible beam from an old homestead in Arkansas that tells the story of the American story moving to the West for 10 million bucks, buy that. So having the money, but requiring discipline to spend it is harder than not requiring the discipline because anyone could overspend or underspend. So it was a really, really exciting project that we wanted to be exceedingly sensitive. We I told my team we're not allowed to use the L word, luxury, because what does that mean? We said our offering is premium. We have a premium product. The quality of the finishes, the quality of the service, the size of the room, the size of the offering. And we started thinking about, and I'll give you just a couple of examples. I could talk about it for hours. I talked about the lobby. We talked about, and again, another vomit-inducing word, biophilia. And what people think biophilia is, let's go to Home Depot Garden Center clearance sale and buy every plant they have and put it in the lobby like a jungle. But biophilia is more thoughtful than that. Indigenous plants, how do you bring them in? How do you bring plants that help you recycle the air and do better things for the space? So we did a lot of that. But some of the interesting things that we did, ASMR is a big thing. So we said, you know what? Imagine, Shai, you're staying in the room, you turn on the TV, and you're watching some babbling brook creating the water noise on video, kind of DIY. It's not high production quality that someone shot in a place half an hour away. So we're giving you ASMR. We're going to create a playlist with it to bring home with you so you can show it to your young daughter and say, honey, look, I walk in and this is on the TV. And I actually had some extra free time. So I told them to tell me where this babbling brook is. And I actually went to it myself. So you think about that simple, very, very simple, elegant, cost nothing way to really connect you with your environment without doing the authentic and handcrafted and let's give you the blah, 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 all that nonsense. So we did a lot of those examples. Some of our turn down amenities, in folkloric culture in that part of the U.S. in the Ozarks region. There's the story that says there's this red string that if you put it near you or tie it around your wrist or put it on you, that it fends off bad dreams. So our turn down gift, instead of giving you some piece of plastic that you're going to throw away anyway, right? That's what we give you because that makes you feel like you're part of that space. Natural flowers, flower seeds from that area that you can bring home with you and bring Northwestern Arkansas flowers to your garden in the summer. So everything we do is really, 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 really thoughtful and really, 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 really intentional. And I cannot say that enough to anyone. Before you do anything, why are you doing it? Why does it matter? And how does it not interfere with the guest's experience? This idea of effortless. Like I've got to make your stay effortless. I could talk for hours about those things and the things that annoy me. The article you were referencing earlier was my rant about showers with no doors. Oh my God. Let's call it what it is. It is a stupid idea. Stop it. End a conversation. Thank you.
Not a fan. Yes, please. Let's. I gotta spread the word. We gotta stop this. Before we go, Bashar, I wish we had hours here, but we want to talk about AI a little bit. I feel like everyone talks about AI. I'm curious for you. You're an early adopter. I feel like you're always experimenting with the leading edge of things. What's actually useful for you? Kind of what do you find value either as a person or as a business person? What's actually productive? I feel like everyone talks. You actually do stuff.
I mean, the use cases are endless, as you know, on a personal level. Literally, like I'll give you a simple example. I go to a conference. I wish conference organizers would do it. Give me a way to download all the things onto my Outlook, right? Easy. Well, they don't. So now I take that agenda, I put it in AI, and I say make it an OCX file for ICX file for me so I can import it into my calendar. Those use cases are endless. But what I'm excited about for the sake of me as an owner operator and for you as a customer is the following: true dynamic pricing. And I have a couple of examples. I like lattes. I want my latte at 8 a.m. and a latte at 8 a.m. costs $10. Well, Josiah likes lattes too, but unfortunately he can't afford $10. A latte at 3 p.m. should not cost $10. It should cost $5. And if you do that dynamic pricing helped by AI based on patterns and the machine learning of how many lattes are sold at what hours, now Josiah is happy he got his latte. I'm happy because I got my latte whenever I want anyway. And the owner of the shop is happy they're selling more lattes. I want to sit at the window I want to sit at the table by the window on Saturday at 7 p.m. for dinner. The prices I see should be different than the prices you see by the bathroom at 5 p.m. on Monday. So I think that's where the power of this comes. I was talking to someone earlier today about employees, like talk about switching shifts. Oh my God, it's like an act of Congress to switch your shift. And things happen. So now using technology, I want to switch my shift. Josiah is available. Boom, Josiah takes the shift. No harm, no foul. So many use cases. Generally, as an industry, as you know, we're late adopters for good reason in some cases, I think. But I think those are the things that I'm looking at. How can I make the operation seamless, my employees' life better, more importantly than my guests? People talk about, I can find out more about you. Well, I don't need AI. I can Google you, find out more about you. That's made it easier, sure, but that's not really an AI function. But I think when it comes to understanding you better, understanding your behavior better, and acting on it, not just understanding it, I've always cried foul on why doesn't Marriott, I keep picking on them, they're the biggest, have literally a data scientist department with 3 PhDs from MIT studying, we know so much about you, but what are we doing about it? They do nothing about it. The only thing they do about it is they give you points. Well, amazing. Congratulations.
It's so interesting. Well, I feel like people are talking a little bit about this split where maybe AI is running stuff behind the scenes, back of house, and then you have these more analog experiences. I feel like in this conversation, it feels like there's something there. Is that accurate to say where there's kind of this split
One,
between like
I
tactile and yeah.
here's what I want. I want technology everywhere because technology can remove friction. And when friction is removed, I now have more time to have those analog moments and enjoy those moments. So sure, do all that stuff behind the scenes. I checked into a hotel in Japan. Robots were checking me in, literally, right? A dinosaur robot. Great. So what? Let the technology disappear. Let it solve all the problems. By the way, if I'm lying in my bed, so like we should already have it, lights off. I should be able to do that. Can't do that yet. And again, that's not even touching AI yet. AI is a whole other frontier. But my point is the consistent sentence I harp on, please hoteliers use technology to remove the friction for your employees, for your customers, for your vendors, for your investors. Remove the friction. and let them engage with you and learn about your business and hear your story and share the stories you hear from your customers with them because that's what they want to hear at the end of the day.
I love it, Bashar. I always learn so much talking with you. Thank you for making time to speak. Of course, I'll link in the show notes to your websites. And I feel like you're on every platform. So where are you having the most fun? Where's a place we can link people that you're just having a ball right now?
LinkedIn, because I start a lot of fights on LinkedIn, and then Instagram. But I encourage you, whether you're a male or a female, do not open my Instagram account in public spaces. But
Great.
you'll get a kick out of it. It's fun, it's aspirational, inspirational, and there might be some inappropriate things mixed in here and there.
It's always fun talking to you, Bashar. Thanks for making the time.
Thanks, Josiah.